Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Lawana Hodges tuning in YBC Youth Building Conversation. This evening, I have DSU in the house. More to come on. They didn't get here, but I had to keep on rolling. So we got E from PA, and we got Louise, better known as Weeze, from Jersey, and myself, I'm repping North Jersey from Paterson, New Jersey. But we all DSU alumni. We have more coming on. It's just that I had to start without them, but you'll see them popping in a few minutes. So how you guys are doing this evening?
Doing all right.
I'm doing great. I just want to clarify. I'm from Philadelphia. There's a big difference between Philadelphia and the rest of PA. Just want to clarify.
Okay, I'm sorry. Philadelphia, PA. Okay, you still in the name, okay. But I guess I get it. That's just like people's like, where you from? South Jersey? No, I'm from North Jersey. It's a big difference.
Right. It's a big difference. Like I can say I'm from Trenton. Hey, what's up, Sean?
We got LaShawn from New York. Woo-hoo. How are you?
That's right. Are you? What's up, everybody?
That's good.
I'm good to see you all. How's it? Am I coming in clear? Because they were doing work and somehow my internet got like jammed up. So I'm like, it's coming in all right?
Yeah, you good.
You good.
Okay.
Okay.
So where you from, LaShawn? You want to rep where you from?
Jamaica Queens all day.
It's a distinction.
All day.
Before
you can't say New York, you got it right. You can't just say New York. You got to say.
I'm sorry, New York.
No. We were saying you got to clarify. You just can't say New York. You got to say. Oh man, I'm freaking out.
All right,
that's all good. Because I'm choppy too.
Okay, I was about to say, is that me? Okay.
Well, before we get started in our conversation, Weeze, go ahead and pray us in. I always start with prayer.
Right. Well, we're going to do this in the remembrance of DMX because he always started with prayer too, his shows and interviews. So, Heavenly Father, we come to you today, thanking you for the day you have given us. Thank you for these eyes to see this new day. Father, thank you for all the blessings you bestowed upon us. And we ask you right now to be in the midst as we celebrate the life of our brother who has gone on to join you. And we want to give you all the praise and the glory. Amen.
Amen. So I just wanted to do a quick live regarding DMX life. And I just wanted to get a couple of people from up top on just to share some thoughts. Because I know I've been crying for the past 2 days. When I hear his song or when I hear somebody talk about him, like I knew him and I didn't know him, but I just felt like I did know him because he was he invited you into his space. And a lot of people don't show who they are, but he showed you exactly who he was. He never hid behind who DMX was and what his struggles was. And he just made it plain, simple, and real. So I just wanted to come on, just pray him, give him some tribute, pay him some tribute on my platform. And I wanted to, get your thoughts about how you guys are feeling, what he meant to you guys. What was your favorite song? Just everything. So that's my 2 questions. What was one of your or 2 of your favorite hits from DMX? And how could you relate, or did you relate to him? Or how did he make you feel through his music? So I'll start with you, E, first.
I mean, you just piggybacking off of what you said, how he was so open. He was like an open wound. And there's only been a few artists that can really evoke emotion, specifically pain. Prior to him, I would say Scarface, Tupac. He was a very unique type of artist and individual because he kind of what connected to me with your questions. Like the first song that I really connected to was "Stop Being Greedy." Like his first song, "Get At Me, Dog," used a sample, and I'm a big EPMD fan, so I was like, I kind of like him, but he used something that EPMD for. So I got hip hop head. So I was like, one strike against you for that. You know what I mean? But when he came and stopped being greedy and showed his dual personality, like a lot of people understand, Dark Man X is his like alter ego that he kind of created as a youth. A lot of kids, you know, and I was getting to the mental health field like around that time, so I could relate to a lot of the stuff he was going through. And then once I read his book, it tied everything in. But Dark Man X is when the sky grows dark, as he says in his book, and that's typically when he starts robbing, doing things that's not morally correct, that what Earl would agree with. So all through his music, if you pay attention, you know, he's talking to himself a lot. And you know, the Damien series is that negative influence that pushes him to be Dark Man X. You know what I'm saying? So if you listen to Stop Being Greedy, you listen to Earl on one verse, then you listen to Dark Man X, and they're talking to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of tells you his not on this particular song, but on a different song, he gives you his, he's like, I'm a manic depressive with extreme paranoia. Like he's a person who was a raw wound, who spoke was very open, and everybody can't connect with you emotionally. You could be pretty skilled in something, but you can't be Mary J. Blige. Like that's you feel Mary J. Blige. It's different. So you know, you felt that. You know, that's what I really loved about him. His music got me up. It made me very sad. Like now um, every time I listen to what's the slipping out, it almost brings me to tears now. You know what I'm saying? So he can bring you up. It's not too many artists can bring me up. He brings you very hyper excited, aggressive. I love aggressive music. Then he could take you there too. To feel very emotional and sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you dropped a lot of nuggets.
Everything that you
Yeah.
need from me?
No, you answered a lot, but you explained who he was. You explained who Earl versus Dark Man was. You explained it perfectly. And if you really
Yeah, he's like a lot of kids I work with. Like
didn't pay, if you really you coming in and out, E.
I'm a little choppy. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now I can.
I suggest that anybody who's judgmental against DMX should read his book and understand what he's been through. He has abandonment issues. He's been introduced to crack cocaine at a very young age, at 14. By someone he trusted. He's been placed in group homes. His mom left him in a group home. He didn't even know where he was going. She walked out of his life at that time. So he has trust issues, abandonment issues. He's been addicted to drugs, which in this field, is it the chicken or the egg? Like the mental health will lead you to the drugs, and the drugs will lead you back to the mental health. And it's a big cycle. And it's a lifelong cycle that people fight, that a lot of people don't understand. Like, and they go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
I think I work with very similar. Friends of mine are very similar. So that's to really connect with him. But his thing with him is he's very open and honest. And if you paid attention to Swiss Beats posts, which is incredible, like about that man and how he cared about everybody before himself, and he gave everything to everybody but not himself. So special guy. I mean, we look like super important hip hop into the world.
Yeah.
Good. Go ahead, Weez.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback on E because "Slippin'" is like my favorite song by him, because he was so vulnerable and open, basically just telling you the foundation of his story, about how he felt always that he had to be that seed that was going to survive on his own. That abandonment issue just played a part in him seeking drugs, and then finding no love. He just had to love himself and trust no one. So with that, the drugs providing that escape. He had a lot of demons, and he was very open about his demons, and also on the flip side about how he was very much in love with the Lord, and read the Bible cover to cover, and he knows the Bible way better than I do. He could spit a verse, a rhyme, and also spit a Bible verse like hand in hand. So that slipping song was it definitely touched me. That was I love the hype, but when he got serious and was praying on all his albums and stuff, I knew he was different, and he wasn't ashamed to say he's a believer, but he fight against the demon, the dark man. And that's just like us, except a lot of us aren't brave enough to be that vulnerable to admit that we have demons in our life. But he had a sad story, and a lot of us have sad stories like that, when we started out. And I want to say hip hop kind of was based on the struggle, because the struggle was real. And a lot of these, I don't want to call them mumble rappers or whatever, they got some of these pre-made up struggles. His struggle was real. And he let you know. And then he was also trying to encourage others, and encourage himself as well. But he did a great job at, letting other people feel as though they weren't alone, that I'm this guy. Yeah, I rap. I love the Lord, but I'm fighting hard to, find some inner peace in myself. And these drugs, man, it's just like that old movie kids don't even know. It's like it's calling me, because that gave him some kind of peace of mind. But the good thing about being on this forum is to tell kids you can find that peace. You really can find that peace. Now, it's a work, it's a struggle. It's not just easy. It's not going to come like that. And he fought hard, and unfortunately, he's gone now. But his life is a lesson. His life is a lesson.
Yes, it is. Sean?
Yeah, I'm just listening to everything, and I love it. Working as a social worker, is definitely rewarding. That nurture versus nature is real. You could put two kids in the same household in the same situation together, and they'll have different outcomes. I had the pleasure of actually meeting Earl. I met Earl before I met before I bumped into DMX again. So I knew Earl. I think he had just came home. He was in treatment. He had weight on him. And it was 145th Street between Lenox and Frederick Douglass, and like between those avenues. And I didn't even know who he was, because everyone who knows me, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'2". And I'm literally like eye to eye to him. He's like 5'5". And I'm like, this is DMX? That's the dude with all that and barking and stuff. I was thinking he was going to be tall, maybe a little bit, bigger, but he was all of 5'5", maybe 5'6", at like 180, but he was real buff. And he jumped out this huge car. It was either a Bronco or it was a big black truck. And I'm like, who are all these people gathering around and asking for autographs and taking the little portable cameras out, from the bodegas? So when we started talking, I was like, well, it's nice meeting you. And I walked away. He was like, you ain't gonna ask for my picture? I was like, I know what you look like. And I walked away. He grabbed me, not ferociously, but he grabbed me. He said, shorty, you ain't gonna take a picture with the ex? I'm like, I thought you said your name was Earl. He said, you don't listen to my music? I'm like, I do, but I don't need to take a picture with you, right? Long and short, we started talking. He was like, take a walk with me. So we walked towards Esplanade Gardens, just like these high rises and now projects. But we were talking about life, and he was like, you don't belong out here. At the time, and you're talking about someone college educated who was married, did everything right. At that time, I was in the game. For a hot second, I was in the game. And these are things you don't really talk about because you belong in this organization. You go to a HBCU, people look at you. And then when you tell them the things that you've been through, they look at you like you're crazy. Like, but I thought that so I was in the game. The dude I dated was in the same set that he was in. They knew him as D Blood instead of DMX, dark man, baby, extra sharp, whatever. And I remember I thought I had life going on, until they killed my ex. They killed him. So I bumped into Earl again. No, I bumped into DMX this time. He was like, I told you, shorty, not to F with that dude. They yanked him up in the pit. And I'm like, are you going to yell my business? Just get a megaphone and tell everybody what's going on, right?
But when I met him, like E said, you could tell the difference between the personalities. You knew if you were talking to Earl, you knew if you were talking to DMX, you knew if you were talking to X, you knew if you were talking to D Blood, you knew what you was getting based on that day. And when I got a phone call, my phone was buzzing off the hook on my way to Atlanta. You heard what happened? You heard what happened? I'm like, what happened now? Like, because at this point, it's like, what happened now? It's no longer a surprise anymore. You're like, just what happened? They're like, yo, X is on life support. I'm like, X who? They're like, your boy. And I'm like, Earl? DMX X or what X? Like X, like who? So immediately I pulled over. My kids were like, what's happened? What happened? I told them. They were like, oh God, someone else in her life is about to pass away. And when I got the call Thursday night, they were like, Desiree and the family are just really just making peace with it, but he's pretty much gone. And, it broke my heart. And I think the part that bothers me most is people on the outside that didn't know him or know the caliber of what we're speaking of him right now. The first thing they gravitate to was, oh, he must have overdosed. First things first, you can't overdose with a crack cocaine. That's just not how it works. You could have conditions that could lead to death, but the only drugs that could cause an overdose are anything with an opioid base or alcohol, period. So that dispelled that myth. But the fact that people's go-to to slur his legacy was drugs was hurtful.
Yeah.
That is what hurt the most. Because it's like almost like forget the fact that he paid for kids to go to college, right? That money he got from that YBC-Youth song helped pay for people's tuition. Forget the fact that this man prayed like a pastor. I honestly thought he was going to make this his biggest testimony, but he did what he came on this earth to do. He got people to pray. He got people to believe. He got people to get his dreams. And I had a dream the other night, mark my words, that Exodus, his younger son, came out under the term DM/X, EX, dad, mom, X. And I kid you not, this dream was vivid as all outdoors, that the A side was his dad's top hits and him rapping about his thoughts with those hits. Vivid dream, like as if it happened already. And I'm like, God, what are you trying to say? Like, is he living through his father? But you know how Nas says, the best thing that happened, the best thing to me is my daughter born a correction of all the incorrect stuff I did. I think that's what the legacy is going to be. But I miss him. Did we hang out every single day? No, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that. But when I saw him, I saw him. And then newsflash, just because he said my name in a song, he did not get the cakes. So that was the last time we saw each other. I said, I'm gonna beat you down, right? He's like, what did I do? I said, why you gotta put my name in that song? I said I wanted my name in a song, but not that song. And he was like, oh, sure, I'm only playing. So now everybody thinks you got the skins, right? And that was a joke that we had for years. And even my friends, they're like, I was like, I don't want to hear it. But my favorite songs from him is definitely Get At Me, Dog, Party Up. God,
not the song greedy, with your name in it.
What those bees want? He goes, there was Dawn with Sean. I'm like, really, Earl? Is that what we're doing now? Is that what we're doing? On God, we ain't never done nothing before. I ain't gonna say I thought that crossed my mind, but we ain't do nothing. I swear we did it. But he's gonna be missed. He had a magnetic personality. He could make you laugh even when he was hurt. You know what I mean? Even when he was hurt, he could make you laugh. He was a great storyteller, and the fact that there was so much that he dealt with. Yeah. So sexual trauma, abandonment, like E said. He went through a lot, but he's a good dude and he's gonna be missed.
Yeah. He reminds me of my favorite song is Anthem and Lord Give Me a Sign. I love that song. He just made it plain and clear. Lord, I'm struggling. At times I don't feel you, but I know you here. Lord, give me a sign. And the reality of it is I've been putting on my platform, don't judge something you don't know. If you did not walk through that man's walk or his life, don't judge him. because we
Exactly.
all have demons that we fight with. And if our demons was out in the open and we had a camera on us, what would people say about us?
Girl.
All right.
So it's like, yes, although he dealt with this,
Mhm.
but he was anointed. He knew God in the midst of his struggle. And just like E said, if you did not read his book, this is a great book. This is a great book to get to read. I would encourage parents. I'm just being honest. If your kids like hip hop, get them this book to read because it clearly defined and told his story and why he went through life like he did. And he still went through life with a smile on his face, still thanking God. Even though he went through what he went through, he still thanked God for the struggle he went through to make him the person he is today. I was listening to one of his clips and he said, I love who I am. I like who I am. He said, I wouldn't have it no other way with my struggle. I like who I am. And when you can say that, you love who you are, because there's a lot of us that don't love who we are.
True.
Mm.
But
True.
when you can say, even though I have a
Yeah.
demon, but I still love who I am, I think that's amazing.
Yep.
But thanks for doing this, Mike. Mike, what's up,
What's
Mike?
up, Mike?
What's good? What's good? What's up, E?
Hey,
What's up,
Mike.
Weez? Sean?
Hey.
Hey, how's everybody?
Hey.
So we was just
Uh,
talking
What's going
about,
on?
we were just talking about DMX.
okay.
What song? What was your favorite song? How he impact you? Um,
Wow.
Hey,
or how could you
what's up?
relate to him?
Okay. Oh, you want me to answer?
Yes.
Oh, I was just listening to his songs in the car. He got so many bangers. I mean, the anthem is my favorite. And then was it Make Lose My Mind is the second.
Mm.
I mean, the first time I heard him, I was up in North Jersey, with a couple fellas, and I mean, we was cranking that thing from there to New York and back. I mean, it was. I mean, he makes me. I mean, like my homeboys from Coatesville. You know what I'm saying? He makes me realize you. I mean, no matter how high you get, no matter what you do, you got to remember your boys, and that's
That's
what
right.
made, that's what he the biggest reflection that he got. I mean, because he loved his cats. He loved all them Rough Riders and all the hood cats and the jail boys, and loved all of them. I mean, DMX, he was the man. He was definitely the man. No
How did
doubt
you?
about it. Yeah, yeah, that book. I'm about to buy that book too.
Oh yeah, you got to buy it. How
Hmm
do you think
Did
you
y'all see
related to
that
some of his stories?
Say
Jay
it again.
Do you think you related to some of his struggles that he went through as a young man?
Uh, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know. I was on. I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think he had a kid early too. Didn't he? Didn't he have yeah, yeah. So having a kid early. I mean, I was in high school when I had my boy, and I mean, growing up in the streets. I mean, I grew up in we was outside of Philly, but we got it in. Please, we got it in. And I mean, I was, I was selling drugs and doing everything, that typical, cats do. So yeah, I definitely relate to him, and just building. I mean, I had a team of fellas around me, team of girls, team of guys. I mean, everybody. So hell yeah, I relate. I definitely relate to him.
That's
and
something.
I love the news that Jay-Z and Beyonce bought his masters and
Oh
going
Yes.
and giving it
wow,
to the kids for free. I mean, so
And
wow,
that they can benefit from that for the rest of their
wow.
lives. So that was dope.
that was really
Yeah,
dope. Because someone
Wow.
yeah.
out there was trying to probably try to do that, be an opportunist. And I
Mm.
think that's part of the holdup as to why they didn't want to say, the inevitable. But you know what I forgot? That convo, the prayer, then the convo on
Ooh.
is dark and hell is hot. when he was like, it takes me for the supper, for my brothers to see the light. He's like, give me pain till I die. And I was like, I feel that. Like, I felt that. That prayer, if you haven't listened to it, it has to be back to back. It has to, you can't like shuffle that CD. You have to listen to it back to back. He was like, I come to you hungry and tired. You give me food. You know, you let me eat. Like that prayer was so dope.
That's a classic.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. Classic. Classic. I mean, he was the hardest praying
Just
dude
listen
I
to
ever.
that right before we
Right?
came on.
Hood dude,
Yeah.
you know, like he was a low-key preacher for sure.
Yeah.
Because he had
Absolutely.
hood dudes feeling that prayer, you know, and getting a prayer life, like, you know, and it wasn't like he was making it soft. He was hard with it, you know, like, get Lord, you know, and you like, okay, he was feeling it. Like, okay.
God,
And I
what?
No, I heard
Dog beats.
on the radio today, they was doing a tribute to him. And they had callers calling in. And this young lady said that she said, you know, I was at a point in my life where I wanted to believe in God, but I didn't think I was good enough. And she said, until I was introduced to DMX music,
Mm.
and as I started listening to his music, I started getting closer to God.
Look at that.
And she said, because of DMX, I am saved today. She was like, because I didn't think everything that I did in my life that I was good enough for God to love me. She said, but after listening to his music, listening to his stories, for him just coming on social media and just being open and honest, it led me to Christ. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow, if something happened to me today, would someone say that about me? I was like, you know, just people lives that didn't believe, that wasn't in church, that followed him. Like,
That's
wow.
right.
I think his legacy is gonna live on, and I think
No doubt.
he came on earth and did what he's supposed to have did.
That's right.
Not
Yeah.
not the traditional way, but guess what? God is not a traditional God. He uses everybody. And I believe that his testimony have really saved a lot of folks. From what I was hearing on the radio and people just testifying about what his music and all that stuff, I was like, wow. I was like, wow, it's good.
But he had to send him that way for people to understand. Like God wasn't going to send him, you know, on some silver spoon light because no one's going to believe it. He had to send him exactly the way he did. And, you know, like when I say that he saved people, like it's more than you can ever understand. It's, you know, it's crazy. Like I wasn't even going to share this, but we're family on here. Like I struggled with addiction after my divorce. Struggled like 6 years. No one really knew it because I was like, I'm not telling no one shiggity, you know, because people judge you, people run tell that and all that other stuff. And that's part of how I met him. And I know, like, and I hope your kids are old enough to hear this, Monica. I know you said it's for the kids, but
I mean, but it's open. It's open. Go ahead.
Like the part I honestly could relate to, and at first I used to be embarrassed to talk about it because I'm like, how does someone that went to school with a double family household with brothers who were successful end up down that road? And I could not cope with my divorce. Like when my husband and I died, when my husband and I divorced, I couldn't cope with it. And then to add the nail to the coffin was when I helped him get papers to go to Hawaii to get stationed, and he took the next chick with him. That took me out.
Wow.
That took me all the way out. And his dad used to get high. His dad, he was a millionaire. They had yachts and boats and stuff. And I thought, you know, oh well, you know, crack is for poor people, but freebase isn't. That's what rich people, you know. And he got me started on that crap. And I didn't know how bad it was until my mother saw me. She was like, "You don't even look like yourself. You're like 1 pound. What's up with that?" And it got bad. It was real bad. And like I said, I know my mom's family. And at this point, I don't even care if it gets out, you know. But listening to his songs and hearing him saying, "Shorty, get out these streets. The streets aren't for you."
Mm-hmm.
You know, that got me off. That got me off the streets. That got me and said, you know, I gotta get myself together. 3 near-death experiences. My ex stabbed me with a machete. Or like craziness. Craziness.
Wow.
And honestly, I will tell you, like when my ex-husband died a few months ago, I felt so low, right? And Slippin' comes on the radio, and I'm like, all right, God, I hear what you're trying to tell me. I can't go backwards. You know, in July, I had 19 years clean. And at one point, I wasn't going to talk about that because I'm like, I don't know how people perceive
Right.
that.
Smart.
You
Nah, I
know,
mean,
Go
yeah,
but
ahead, girl.
sure.
that's me. It's who I am. And when you ask me, do I relate to that man? I do, because there's people who would say, like, when things happen to me, they're like, you're not gonna relapse, are you? No, I'm not going to relapse. You sure you good? Like, that's the first thing that comes out their mouth. So
Hmm.
when I see people like, oh, did he overdose? That stuff pisses me off, because like, why couldn't he just die because of something else? You know what I mean? Why is it always a situation where people think that because an addict is in recovery or somebody had a slip, that's automatically to go to? You know what I mean? So like this, that's why this hit me so hard, because I'm like, that man struggled, but he fought to the end. And
He
according
did.
to his wife, Desiree, and I believe her, she said he didn't even gotten high months. She said he
Mm.
didn't get high. She said, you know, I'm not going to say what she told me it was, but it's just, you know, people don't understand that addiction is a disease. I know, you know, as a social worker, but that's a disease. And I didn't realize that crap ran through my family. It just hit me and not my brothers, by the grace of God. But you know, I'm just here to tell you, like, that man saved my life so much. You just don't understand. And I will forever be
Wow.
grateful for him. Forever be grateful for him.
So
Wow.
Yeah,
a
that's
big
deep.
ups. Yeah, that
Yeah,
big up, sister. We love you
yeah,
for being honest.
exactly. For being Sean. Yes, for being.
That's my line, sister, right there. That's my line, sister.
I love you,
You
sis.
know, always had your back. Always had your back, number 4. That's my line, sister, right there. Love you.
I
Love
Right.
love
you
you,
to death,
sis.
and thank you for being
I just want.
transparent.
Can y'all? I everybody's choppy. I could barely like everybody's going.
I think that's your
That's you.
connection.
That's you, E.
Is it clear for everybody else? Everybody
It's
can hear clearly
Yeah,
because everybody's going in and out on my end.
that's you.
it's
That's your
you.
connection.
Can y'all
Try
hear
to go
clearly?
out and come back in. Try to go out and
Yeah,
come back
because I
in.
tried to switch. That's me. Yeah, I switched the Wi-Fi to. Like I said, I'm in this hotel, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay, I can hear you now.
I went back through like the Wi-Fi, but you can hear me, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Now I just want to make sure because it's been
yeah.
choppy
You choppy
from
again.
everybody.
No,
It's
that's
like I've
you.
been missing pieces
Yeah.
here and there, you know.
No, that was you choppy again. But LaShawn, you know,
I'm
big up to you for sure. You know, like we all got a story. Me
I'm,
and Luana was
I'm
talking earlier
coming.
about, you know, we all got like some kind of demon, so we addicted to something. You know,
Mm,
like we all got some type of addiction, and like you said, it ain't out there for everybody to know. And thank you for
Hmm.
sharing your story, because you can't look at somebody and just judge, you know, what they've been through and how they got over. But the great
Right.
thing about him was he was not afraid. He was, you know, he knew his life was a living testimony, and thankfully he shared it with us so that people didn't feel alone and that he could help somebody else, you know, help somebody along the way. And I mean, hey, I come from a family of addicts. You know, both my parents were um crackheads, you know, drug addicts, and I lost aunt and uncle to overdoses. And so, you know, my whole family has you know, the issue, and it's hard. So, you know, I could always relate to him, and always was, you know, like praying for that dude, you know, because it's a daily struggle. And he would say it all the time. He's like, I'm never going to not be an addict. You know, it's a daily struggle. And
Right.
so, you know, he was more than that, but he also wanted people to not feel alone, because we all have some type of addiction, you know, to something. It may not be as open, and, you know, you can look at me and tell what mine is, or me to say it, but, you know, he just wanted everybody to feel so you're not alone, you know,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
love him for that. You know, I love
Yeah,
that dude for that.
yeah, that's the thing. I related to him because of my brother's struggles, and it's like I seen DMX fighting with himself. And I see the same, years ago with my brother when he was coming up, the demon inside just fighting with himself. So I related to DMX through, like you said, family members. But his story, he always been that guy that was like, hey, keep your head up. You gonna make it. Keep your head up. You gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
E, you good now? E, can you hear us?
Nah,
No, I think he's
it's the
frozen.
same. It's like same. I just try to make it this way.
Okay.
It's the same.
Well,
Still choppy.
Yeah, you still choppy, E.
I can hear you.
It's okay. You trying to be super dad all at your away game. So
But I had a viewer say, wow, small world, LaShawn probably knows my family who grew up with DMX and Yonkers. My cousin Stephanie played at his memorial. My cousin Lorenzo, Fat Cat, was just like his brother. I can't see who the Facebook user is, but
that was nice.
I guess they were saying it's a small world that you might know their family.
Small world for sure. Because who knew LaShawn? I mean, we went to school with you and
Right,
everything.
we ain't know none of that.
Right?
I ain't know you knew DMX.
Right.
We line sisters. That was my man.
But by me telling you how I knew him, I had to tell you how I knew him, and I wasn't ready to talk about that,
Sure.
But but now it helps that I'm in the PR field too. I PR part time, so there's a lot of celebrities that I rock with and work with and do PR publicities with, like Nakia West. I worked with her before, but like I find joy in being able to to help artists resurge, if that makes sense. I only work with old school artists. I don't work with these new cats. I can't. I love y'all, but I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that neither. I didn't know that. Wow.
What's up, Sean? That's what's
Good
up.
stuff, Sean.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? I got another way I could relate to him. My best friend, Ron. I don't know if you ever met Ron, but he's from we went from kindergarten to 12th grade together. And he went to Lincoln, I went to Dell State. And Ron was an alcoholic. I mean, hard alcoholic. I mean, he's a teacher, like a genius, like a calculus teacher, smart as a whip. But coming up, I mean, we would around that time DMX made his album. I mean, he would leave work for a whole week and then come back. His girl was, I mean, he was putting her through it pretty much. And then he had a kid. He had a daughter. And this brother, I mean, it was around the time DMX came out. He just stopped, just cold, stopped drinking altogether. And I mean, since that time, I mean, he's put so much into his daughters. He has 3 daughters. One plays ball for Villanova. One plays ball for Michigan State. And the little one's still in high school. I mean, just to see him just stop cold turkey and, I mean, just doing his thing. I mean, that's one person, I can kind of relate to with the DMX, with the drug route, I mean, alcohol route and all that good stuff. And I just pray. I mean, he's a good brother doing his thing. Got $1 million house, all that good stuff. I mean, blessings came to him once he just stopped altogether. So, that's my story.
And the other blessing was we got to see him, DMX with Snoop in that Versus, which was epic. Was epic. And you saw all the personalities of him from the beginning when he's like, hold on, wait a minute, let's pray. Like it was him showing who Earl was, DMX celebrating. I mean, we celebrated him, gave him his roses. So that was the other blessing to let him. I'm glad he got to see it, to see it now in 2021 that people still loved him, like was there. So hopefully the new music that's going to come out, because he was working on an album. So,
right. I need that new music.
Dope.
Yeah.
LaShawn, can you get your hands on it? Get your hands on some of that music.
I'll see what I can do. But I know I got my hands on that cologne, that Isadora cologne. That stuff.
Okay. I thought that was DMX.
Put a little bit of that DMX clone on and see what happened to you.
Y'all hear me?
That's good.
I didn't even know he had a cologne.
Me?
Yeah, Isadora picked him up. He had a cologne.
Wow.
He was starting to sign artists. He has his new catalog that was coming
Hey,
out.
can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you now, E.
Well, you gonna say something?
You gonna say something?
E, where you at? E?
He is like in somewhere in upstate Pennsylvania at a basketball tournament.
That's what I'm saying. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Now we
Yes.
saying yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Now I was gonna say off musically. I think people have to understand the climate of the music industry when he came out and how impactful he was. He caused a shift in the music industry.
Mm.
Mhm.
You know, things was kind of grimy and rough, like in the early '90s. You know, hardcore hip hop. The emergence of Puff and Big. Puff was hip hop. I mean, Big was hip hop as well, but things got real glossy and poppy, like towards the late '90s, until X came through. And X came through and did that black and white video with Mike Williams, and came with that hardcore album. Just shifted the whole genre back to the things that me personally I love, and like a lot of people love. And people understand. Stop. He was being played 11 o'clock in the morning on Power 99 on mainstream radio. Like you hearing these records like in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? So he was real important to cause that shift. It was him on a lower level. It was like Big Pun on him. But X like broke the door down and kind of brought it back to that raw, you know, the nuts and bolts of what it was based on. You know, so that meant a lot for me too, and that whole Rough Riders movement. But X was the catalyst of all that. You know, then Swizz became a star, even though people say Swizz had like one record on that album, but that Stop Drop record was like the biggest record. And he became a star, and then it just started a whole nother wave of music. So
Yeah.
that was just
Yeah,
real.
he
That
put
was
a
real
lot of
big. That's
people
why I would
on.
say
He put a lot of
1998.
people on.
That's summer '98, man.
Yeah.
People like he was outselling Jay-Z. People don't understand that. Like he outsold Jay-Z 4 million, 2 million in 1 year. You know what I mean? It's like 6 million records in 1 year, 2 albums in 1 year. So Flesh of My Flesh came out at the end of 1998.
Flesh of My
You
flesh,
know,
blood of my blood.
It's Dark
That
and
was
Hell is
dope.
Hot was like in the spring of 1998. So he had a 4 million debut album. Then he had another 2 million album at the end of the year, which was unheard of. So,
Yeah.
those things, people understand how big he was. He was outselling Jay,
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
it was a
My boy
monumental year.
remastered. My boy D'Anthony. Shout out to D'Anthony Johnson, out in Queens. He was the one who remastered "Get at Me, Dog." He's the one who did the production for it. And I remember I was in the studio. I was like, "Is he barking? Is there an animal inside of the thing?" And he was like, "No, Sean. That's how he raps." I'm like, "But
Hold
he's
on.
barking."
Who's your boy, Dane? He's Dane
D'Anthony.
Grease.
You know D'Anthony Johnson?
What's your boy's name?
D'Anthony Johnson.
No, well, I know the people who produced that album. What's his name?
D
What's
is
his like
D.
production name?
Then
He did the beat, or he just he mixed it.
D'Anthony. Hold on. I can't
hear
understand the
you.
last part he's saying.
Yeah, you got a messed up Wi-Fi. I mean, you got great points, bro, but
Yeah, I can't hear you
your
either.
Wi-Fi is bad. You got great points, but your Wi-Fi bad.
It's not his. He's got a. He's somewhere else. He at that hotel.
That's
the hotel.
right.
I got
Oh, he had a
AT&T.
hotel. Okay,
I pay enough for it. I pay enough for this AT&T.
It's okay. It's okay.
Service.
But no, I was saying D'Anthony. His name is D'Anthony Johnson. He recorded and mixed his single "Get at Me, Dog."
Okay.
Nice. Was that dog barking?
Was that a dog barking?
That's my dog. That's my dog.
But wait a minute. Mike, your dog is not a DMX dog. I'm just saying.
No, not at all.
Even
No,
though his name is Brooklyn, but I'm just saying.
Roddy. That's Nairee's dog, actually.
But this has been great. I thank you guys. I thank you guys for coming in. I learned a lot. Thank you, LaShawn.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, come on, Soror. I could have been me and DM. I'm just saying. But that's all right. But I'm glad that he came in and been that light in your life. For you at that dark time. He was that light for you. So I thank God for him for that. I love him even more because of that.
Now, right. Exactly.
You know, right. Not, I don't know him, but just because I know you, but just because of that, I like that light that he just shone on you in your darkest time. So I thank you for sharing that. I thank you guys for coming in. Mike, E, Weeze, LaShawn, I thank you guys. I know, just sharing his life, because I mean, I love the dude, and he was very instrumental. I mean, I love his music. Every morning, that's my running music. I mean, yeah, I grew up with him. Even though people was like, he ain't nothing but that, and I used to defend him. No, he ain't. Y'all don't know who he is. Stop judging him and da-da-da-da, and I didn't even know him. But I read this book. He let me in his living room and let me in his life. And after reading this book about him, I just seen him totally different. And I understood his struggles. So in saying that, I'm just telling everybody, to my listeners, before you judge him, know his story, know who he is, and read his book and listen to some of his music.
Listen to his music.
Because he'll tell you exactly who he is and who he's serving. Hands down. And he never ran from his addiction that he had one. He never hid it. He was open. And that's more than we can say about a lot of folks out here, as well as ourselves. We hide ours. He didn't hide it. He was upfront with it. So I appreciate him for that. But any last words before we close from anyone?
How often you gonna do this, Luana?
How often am I gonna talk about DMX?
Yeah. Because you do this with the kids. I mean,
I do. I interview once a week on Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday at once a week, depending on when they're available, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday evening. I get on here and interview them. They share their stories, they share their businesses, their whatever platforms they have. So I try to come on once a week and just highlight, but I had to come on. Everybody was paying sitting there talking about DMX life. I had to do it. He is my favorite artist of all time. I love him dearly. And man, it was like, that was my brother I lost. I lost my brother. And it's still hard to believe. But I just want to celebrate. I just wanted to celebrate him as well. And wow, just to know I had somebody on here that had that connect, that was even more. Thank you for speaking. Knowing the family, LaShawn, knowing the family, and setting people straight. He did not die over an overdose.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was in Brooklyn when Biggie had his funeral. I mean, the streets were packed. I mean, signs everywhere. Are they doing anything for X up in North Jersey?
Upstate's gonna be crazy. I know Yonkers, Mount Vernon, all that. You thought they did something for Heavy D. Right. They already made makeshift memorials at the hospital. Like, you can't even walk at the entrance at the hospital. I'm telling you, that 914 is going to stand all the way up, and I think Jersey will too. But he lived like in Arizona and Jersey and Georgia. It's good. New York is going to be on fire, for the next few weeks and thereafter. And I just think that if you got somewhere to go, take mass transit.
Yeah.
Take mass transit or walk.
Yeah, it's already bad traffic in New York anyway.
Wow. Excuse me, sir.
We
Thank
was
you.
just up there. We were just up there last week.
I was there yesterday
It's
for my
all
best friend's funeral. It took me. It said you're 7 miles away from your destination. It took 40 minutes to get there. I was like, that doesn't add up to me. But that's a whole nother show.
Right.
Yeah.
But thank you for
But
having us, Luana. I love the soror.
no.
Yes.
We'll talk because I'm gonna have you back. I'm gonna have you back. Because you're doing some great stuff. With your business. But yes, anytime you guys want to come on, just let me know. You know, you're a mentor with the youth. You know, with the basketball coaching and all that stuff. Just let me know when you want to come on with a better connection next time. But I just want to say to my viewers, thank you for sticking in there with me. Thank you for listening. Like I said, even if you don't know who DMX is, Google him. Google him and find out. A great guy in the hip hop game. He's gonna be missed by many of us, but I believe his other album is gonna drop and it's gonna blow up even more. So, and saying
Go
that,
to Swiss's Instagram. Go to
yes, go ahead.
He was saying go to Swiss Beats Instagram. He gave a nice tribute.
I'm saying go to Swiss's Instagram if you want a better perspective on him. He give a nice go there. It explains a lot about him.
Okay.
okay.
All right, great. I'll put that link. Underneath this interview when we're done. But you guys stay on. So thank you. Have a great evening, and we'll catch
Peace.
you next week
Take
with
care.
YBC Youth Building Conversation.